You know that feeling, right? You walk into a room for the very first time and bam, this overwhelming, unshakable sense that you've been there before washes over you. That's déjà vu. And today we're going to pull back the curtain on what's really going on with this spooky but surprisingly common sensation. And this quote just nails it. It perfectly captures that dizzying, disorienting feeling. For just a split second, that line between what's new and what's a memory gets all blurry. And you're left wondering, wait, what is real? So, what is actually happening inside your brain when that happens? Is it some echo from a forgotten dream, a glimpse into a past life, or is it something our science can actually get its hands on and explain? Well, that's the big question we are tackling. Okay, before we dive into all the brainy theories, let's just take a moment and really unpack the experience itself. What does it feel like? It's this internal clash that makes déjà vu so weird and unforgettable, isn't it? You've got your logical brain saying, nope, definitely new here, but then there's this other deeper part of you that is absolutely screaming, I've done this, I've been here. That conflict, that's the signature feeling. All right, let's shift gears from the feeling to the facts. Scientists have been poking at this mystery for more than 100 years. So what have they actually figured out? The scientific definition is actually pretty important here. The term, as you can see, is just French for already seen. But the really crucial part is that phrase, inappropriate impression of familiarity. You feel like you know it, but you can't for the life of you figure out why. There's no actual memory to attach it to. So if this has happened to you, let me tell you, you are in very good company. Research suggests that something like 2/3 of us have felt it. It's a totally normal, if still pretty strange, part of the human experience. And the things that seem to be linked with it are pretty fascinating. It tends to pop up more when we're stressed or really tired. And here's a weird one. It's actually more common in people with higher levels of education. But what's really interesting is that it seems to happen less and less as we age. Maybe because our brains, hey, this is new detector, just isn't as sensitive as it used to be. Now, to really get why our memory might have these little hiccups, we first have to understand how it's supposed to work. And the thing is, it's not just one system. Think of it more like a tag team. This is the absolute key to the whole puzzle. On one hand, you have recollection. That's your hippocampus in action. It's like replaying a high-definition movie in your head. You've got characters, a setting, details. On the other hand, you have familiarity. This is a different part of the brain, and it's just a gut feeling, a vague, I know this, with zero context. Understanding this split is everything. Okay, so now that we have those two memory systems in our back pocket, let's play detective. Science has a few main suspects, 4 big categories of theories that try to explain that already seen feeling. Think of these as the 4 main roads we can take to try and solve this thing. We're going to check out a couple of the most convincing ideas that fall under these categories. So this first theory is all about timing. Picture 2 gears in your brain, one for familiarity and one for memory retrieval. Normally, they spin together perfectly, but the dual processing theory says that for just a millisecond, the familiarity gear gets a little ahead of the retrieval one. That tiny little lag is what creates that bizarre sensation of knowing something just before you've actually processed it. This next idea is so cool. It's called Gestalt familiarity. The theory here is that you're not remembering the specific things in a room, but the layout. Imagine you walk into a new cafe, but the way the tables, the counter, and the windows are arranged is almost identical to some little restaurant you visited on vacation years ago and totally forgot about. You won't remember the old place, but the new one will hit you with this tidal wave of familiarity. Right, so this one points to a very specific kind of brain misfire. Basically, that familiarity switch in your brain gets flipped on, giving you that powerful I know this feeling. But the recollection switch, the one that's supposed to supply the why and the where, it just stays off. And what you're left with is this feeling of knowing with absolutely no memory to back it up. So the theories we've looked at are about these tiny little misfires. But for most of us, déjà vu is harmless, right? It's over in a flash. But by studying a much more intense version, scientists have found even more clues about what's going on up there. Meet déjà vécu, which means already lived. And unlike the quick passing feeling of déjà vu, this is a deep, detailed, and lasting belief that you are literally reliving a moment. It's much rarer and often studied in clinical cases, like with certain types of epilepsy, because it gives us a window into just how powerfully these memory circuits in the brain can be activated. Okay, up to this point, we've pretty much treated deja vu like an error message, a little glitch in the matrix. But what if we've been looking at it all wrong? Let's completely flip the script. What if instead of being a sign of something going wrong, deja vu is actually a sign of a super healthy, highly tuned memory system doing exactly what it's supposed to do, constantly fact-checking our reality? When you look at it this way, deja vu becomes your brain's internal error checker. It's raising a little red flag when it detects a mismatch between a feeling of familiarity and an actual concrete memory. It's your brain basically saying, whoa, hang on a second, something feels familiar here, but I've got no file for it. Let's double check. It might just be an evolutionary quirk, a side effect of having a brain that's gotten really, really good at recognizing patterns. And that brings us right back to where we started. We began with this mysterious, eerie feeling, we walked through the science, and we end up right back here, pondering these huge, profound questions about memory, time, and the nature of reality itself. So the next time you get that strange, fleeting feeling of already seen, maybe don't just brush it off as a weird glitch. Stop and consider that it might just be your brain's incredible, complex memory system, working perfectly, making sure your map of the world is accurate. So, what do you think? A bug or a feature?